My name is Jeanette Hennigan, and I'm the president of the Lenawee County NAACP. And I have lived in Lenawee County most of my life and raised my 2 children here. So that gives me the responsibility and obligation when something's wrong to step up and say something's wrong and it needs to be changed. So here today I'd like to read to you a resolution that was adopted by the National NAACP at convention in 1999. The resolution is in opposition to the Native American mascots being used. It says, whereas the National NAACP is committed to caring for and affirming the gifts of all people, with special regard to those oppressed or disenfranchised on the basis of race, national origin, and cultural origin. And whereas the use of Native American people, images, symbols, and cultural and religious traditions as sports names, logos, and mascots perpetrates racist stereotypes and undermines the self-determination and dignity of Indian people. And whereas the National NAACP, as a nationally and internationally recognized protector of civil and human rights, is in the unique position to impact public and corporate policies and practices. Therefore, be it resolved that the National NAACP calls upon all members and friends to refrain from purchasing items with Native American sports team logos and to cross out such logos on merchandise already in their possession. Be it further resolved that the National NAACP call upon member branches and state conference of branches to inform themselves of and support local efforts to eliminate the use of Native American people, images, symbols, and cultural and religious traditions as sports names, logos, and mascots. Be it finally resolved that the National NAACP call upon all professional sports teams and public and private schools and universities currently using such names and images to reject the use of Native Americans and all historically oppressed people and their cultural traditions as sports mascots and symbols, and affirm their commitment to respectful racial and cultural inclusion in all aspects of their institution. And it apparently, the Clinton Schools Board, you've done some type of vote or public opinion or something like that, and apparently the majority ruled and you decided to continue to use the Redskin as a mascot. Issues involving racism or civil rights should not depend on the majority vote.
Thank you, Jeanette. Your time is up. Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board? You're next.
Thank you very much. I'm Patricia Gray. I live in Tecumseh, Michigan. I'm a community member, of course, in Adrian, Tecumseh. I'm on the NAACP, the Martin Luther King Breakfast Committee, Hispanic Heritage Month Committee, many other committees that deal with diversity in Adrian. I've also done diversity training. I'm an educator in Adrian as well, and I work with children quite a bit also. I wanted to reiterate what my friends here have been saying about the use of the mascot for Clinton schools. And what I wanted to press upon you is that whether you change the use of a derogatory or racist name for a school mascot, it shouldn't be a situation where there's a majority vote and that's considered, that dictates to the minority how things are going to be. It should be a situation where the right thing is done, even if it's not the most popular opinion. The majority assumes that it should be able to retain a symbol they have owned, quote unquote, for decades. But as with all civil rights issues, the majority must defend the rights of the minority. I would like all of you, moral and right-minded people, to consider this. If we lived by majority rules in civil rights issues, we would still have slavery today. So I encourage you to please do what is right and give our children correct symbols, politically correct or otherwise, correct symbols that they can take into their adulthood and teach to their children as well. It's 2010. It's time for us to recognize that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board?
Tonight, what I've done is I've brought pictures to prove to you that there is life after death as a figure of speech. This particular town was the Redskins. They changed to the Red Hawks. They won state championship this year. And as you can see from these photos, these people are not distressed. They're happy. The kids did great. The community's doing good. This local hardware right here that's hanging a Red Hawks flag out in front of it was one of the most outspoken people of the community at the time. And this is a picture right here of Mr. Paul Herman. And he has embraced the Red Hawks. He has made money off the Red Hawks. And the town is growing and doing fine and well. And Clinton will too. When the change comes, which it will, people will move forward. The children will be fine, the community will be fine. People will make money as they do now. You can see here the kids are still painting their bodies. Here's a lady that's just totally ecstatic, which anybody in that case, a parent or community member, would be. Here's another picture here of some advertisements. This particular advertisement right here from All Sports was a very outspoken person also, because he was going to lose money. That was what he thought. But instead he made lots of money because everybody wanted to buy the old Redskin stuff. Then they had a transition period, so people bought the transition stuff. And when they finally became the Red Hawks, everybody went out and bought new stuff. So this business is very, very well. The same as the hardware downtown called Herman's. Darlene's Hardware, she was one of our very avid supporters that sat on that school board. And she also owned a couple of stores in town. And she's doing fine. So the thought that the logo, name, and mascot of the school is going to somehow devastate everybody and bring everybody to their knees is not true. There'll be healing that has to take place, but everything will move forward, and the children, as they go through school, will embrace the new things, and it will become just as important as what you have now, except it won't be so derogatory. I did want to read a statement in this book, but I'll do it next month. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to address the board before I close the public comment? Then I'm going to close.